then yeah, just start with, I want to just make an intention. I would love to focus more on my breath every day, 20 times a day, right? Put a sticky note in a couple different spots in your house. Sticky notes and I are best friends. The sticky note company I owe so much gratitude for in my evolution of my spiritual journey and just growth as a human. If you look at my house, there are so many little sticky notes of just thought concepts and philosophies that I wanted at one point to adopt into my life. And now when I look at them, it's confirmation of, man, I've grown so much. And I'll create new ones every once in a while to put on there just to continue that evolution, because the growth process never stops.
Do you ever get sticky note overload? Like where there's like too many, they lose their importance?
No, I make sure to keep it at a good, solid, foundational level.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to have sticky notes everywhere because that feels chaotic.
Right. And you want to make sure they're, like the most important things, reminders.
What is going to be very impactful for you in the way that you want to show up in your life. And so, like, for instance, in coaching, I talk about how you want to live your life, kind of what your purpose is, like what your intention is. So like a mission statement. And that's what I call it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's create your mission statement for how you want to show up in life. So like the most successful businesses, they have a mission statement that in one sentence will highlight the heart of what it is that they want to get out of their company, with their company. And so with a mission statement for you and the way you want to live your life, the things, maybe 10 things, 10 sticky notes, right? Of each one of those categories that you want to put most focus into, that's kind of how I did mine. So at the time, a lot of it was all about my heart and how I wanted to show up and not have attachment to things. And through that, so much peace has come into my life, because when you're attachment holding on to stuff, right, then it's really hard to let things go. And so the ability to let things go but still live very big and still love very hard is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It's also hard to appreciate things if you're worried about losing them.
Exactly, because the energy of losing them is overriding your ability to appreciate the energy of having it.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a session last night about that whole thing, the whole process, because he was creating scenarios in his head because of little things, little subtle changes in the way she was responding to him, and then creating a story around that. And then the story became an emotion that he was feeling as if he was losing her in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was beautiful for him to feel that. Like, feelings and emotions are amazing. They don't always tell you the truth, though. They're just there to give you guidance, right? Like, he wasn't really experiencing that, but what it was showing him is that he loves her a lot. And there's parts of him that are insecure in himself, and it's being manifested in the relationship because he's been hurt by other people. And when these things happened in the past, shortly after, the relationship was no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they both have a really solid foundation and they show up for each other in really great ways, there was enough being presented that was still, he wasn't able to let go of what happened in the past, that he was taking that perception and reality of what was an experience at one point in his life and applying it to a very healthy relationship. And so it was creating a lot of disruption and resistance in his current reality. And so to be able to highlight that for him and get him to see that, one, it's a story, but two, This is proof, like 100% evidence that you can create any emotion you want to feel. And that's essentially what manifestation is, right? It's attaching an outcome to an emotion and an emotion to an outcome. And then living in that experience and believing that it's happening until it actually happens. And so negatively is where we experience most of that, especially in relationships, right? If we think for any reason that our partner is not being trustworthy, a lot of the times that's just our own issues. Just like in that scenario, it was his own issues. He wasn't being untrustworthy. She wasn't being untrustworthy, but there was something that happened that caused him to not trust the relationship because it had caused pain when that same thing happened before. And so using that same analogy and that same process, if you want to attach something very beautiful, like a very heartfelt, loving, heart-opened emotion to an outcome, then you can achieve the same thing because that's where your energy is going to end up going.
Okay, so it's choosing what you're attaching to things and avoiding that, or more just being aware.
Awareness is huge.
Aware of when you are almost like assuming something negative
Mm-hmm.
and bringing it into being.
Exactly.
Simply by assuming it.
Yep. Because it's not actually happening. It's just your perception of it happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you want to see and feel the worst parts, or do you want to see and feel the best parts? And it's not being blind and it's not being ignorant. Like, you can still have big boundaries and big respect and love for yourself and not put yourself in a position that is taking away from your integrity and your character. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, is that it's like, oh, well, you're just being positive. That's a negative. Like, you're going to have a shit life if all you can do is think positively. And it's not that. It's like you still have negative thoughts that come in. You still have some insecurities. It's just now, and I use this a lot, your processor speed is so much faster. Because instead of sitting with those thoughts and those emotions that come up and letting it take over your body, as soon as you notice that it's happening, your awareness, it clicks in so much faster. And then you're able to diagnose or process, right? Feel into your body, feel into your reality, like what part of this is really true, what part of this am I making up? And then if this is just me making stuff up, then how do I want my imagination to work? Do I want it to work for me, or do I want it to work against me? Do I want to believe and trust and know that this is going to happen, that she is trustworthy and that we have an amazing relationship? Or do I want to invite the worst possible outcome in? And so it's awareness, your processor speed of knowing whenever you're going down that rabbit hole, and then choosing how you want your life to look and how you want to feel.
And so those are the steps you would recommend people take. Is first of all, like, trying to become aware of it when it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you notice yourself going down that kind of negative thought, feeling loop. Is there something you can do outside of that? Of like trying to bring that positive? Because yes, I see what you're saying about
Mm-hmm.
it. It feels, there's an aspect that feels naive of like, oh, I just assume the best always.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you avoid that, but then also do like have a belief that something good is coming?
You feel. It's all about feeling. And it's all about, so like first there's presence. First there's awareness. And then there's presence with the awareness. Like, what is the awareness showing me? How is it making my body feel? is this real or is this made up? Where is this coming from? Why is it showing up? And so it's not just, I don't want to feel this way, so I'm not going to. Because that's where you start getting into a slippery slope of just choosing positivity and basically turning a blind eye to everything else. And that doesn't help you because it's going to continue to come back because you're
Right.
not facing it. You can only heal and navigate and process through what you're able to actually see. And that's the beauty of the awareness, is the awareness allows you the opportunity to see it.